Hello, one and all. It's my view of My Hero Academia, Chapter 341, the story of how we all became heroes, part -1. And that is certainly not a title I was expecting, though I probably should have been. I mean, the last 3-4 chapters have been all about how people beyond the pros can stand up and be heroes in their own way, including support class, general studies, Ayama the traitor, and so it makes sense that even villains can be heroes. I mean, the term hero has always been a bit problematic because unlike a soldier or police officer, you don't really need to uphold any ideals or morals or follow anyone's orders to be a hero. You just need to save one person somewhere, somewhen, and then you'll become the hero. For instance, Dobby became Toga's hero this chapter when he burned her house down. Yes, that's how these messed up freaks show love. Huzzah! And twice as mentioned this chapter, he became Toga's hero. She really fell in love with him after he stabbed a hero in the back of the head and saved her life even though he was dying at that exact moment. Again, that's the way they show love. And Spinner has become a hero to heteromorphs all across Japan, maybe even all across the world, even though he really doesn't want to be. I am not really sure if he cares too much about heteromorph rights, but he just really doesn't seem interested in it and just really wants to focus on saving Shigaraki, on being a hero to him. And he seems to think the only way he can support Shigaraki is by basically triggering a revolution, even though I'm not really sure if that's exactly what Shigaraki wants right now. I'm not even sure if Shigaraki knows exactly what Shigaraki wants right now, other than just to destroy everything that annoys him, which is a lot. I mean, this world is full of a lot of things that would annoy him. Speaking of which, let's talk about Toga's family, because we get a lot of flashbacks about her this chapter, and it really makes it clear, at least to me, that, she didn't have to go down this path. She didn't have to become a villain, but her parents just failed so utterly and spectacularly, screaming at her, no one will ever accept you the way you are, telling her that she was wrong, that she was evil, that her very existence was nightmarish, telling her that she could never be who she really was, and just forcing her to suppress herself again and again and again, until she eventually snapped and her violent sociopathic side broke free. I mean, if they had taught her restraint instead of, straight up just don't do that, I think that there is a future where Toga could have lived a much happier life, becoming, a doctor, working at a blood bank, or heck, even becoming a pro-hero. I mean, seriously, imagine her dressed as a vampire queen, fighting villains by sucking their blood or the blood of other pro-heroes and then turning into those heroes and using their quirks to deal with the villains. That could have made her such a popular hero. I know the whole blood-sucking thing is, a little off-putting, but there are people in this world who have comic books for faces, or are made of stone, or just any number of messed up, weird abominations. I don't think anyone would really mind her blood-sucking thing if she, tried to play it off as being a vampire. She's a vampire queen, here to protect the innocent, blah blah blah. Also, I have seen just so very many comments online that basically went something like, "Oh, Toga, will you suck my blood?" Yeah, believe me, there is a fan base for it, and Toga could certainly have filled that role in Hero Society. But instead, Toga's parents tried to force her to be normal when she was anything but, and then once she finally snapped and broke, they seemed to have erased every trace of her existence from their home. I mean, the door leading to her room was sealed up, and inside, not a single piece of her furniture remained. They completely erased every trace of her. And I'm fairly certain it was them. They actually crossed out her height chart on the wall. I mean, it might have been the looters, the vandals, whatever, but I'm fairly certain that was done by her parents as a way of basically erasing her very existence. That is heartbreaking. That is so heartbreaking. Also, just in terms of the Vandals, I'm very curious about the timeline of this. I mean, there are 3 events in Toga's life that could trigger this. First off is when she attacked her classmate and sucked their blood. Secondly was when she, officially became a villain, joined League of Villains, had her whole grand debut, all that. And thirdly is when Gigantomachia went on a swath of destruction and just killed so many hundreds of people. When did the vandalism start, and when exactly did her parents move out of this house? I mean, it is in a very derelict state right now. I'd have a hard time imagining this is the course of, just a month or so. Even if vandals were really going out to destroy this place with everything they had, this feels too much. It feels more like, this has been going on for a very long time. So, was it right after she became a villain, official villain, or was it after she attacked her classmate? When exactly did all of this happen? I'm very curious about that. We also get a very disturbing depiction of her dream about a bird dancing on her stomach until it tore open, danced in her innards, and stained her red all over, making me oh so cute. Such a pleasant dream makes me so happy. Okay, so yeah, Toga's parents were clearly working with a fairly difficult child here, but I still think if they had done better, if they had tried better to accept her for who she is, saying, it's okay, honey, you can suck my blood, just don't suck any of your classmates' blood, that could have led her to becoming just such a better, healthier person, and reaching out for friends who weren't, violent sociopaths like Dobby here. And speaking of Dobby, like I said before, he blew up her house, which is a gesture of kindness, I guess, to erase all the awful memories she has in that place, all the memories of her parents yelling and screaming at her, or to maybe erase just the pain of the graffiti she saw written on the walls. Get lost, be judged, pay with their lives, demon's room, you'll pay. Idiots. Yeah, that's actually kind of a weird one, just idiots sprawled across her room. I mean, again, I'm very confused about that one, because the room was apparently sealed up before this, and yet someone just, burst in the room, and the meanest thing they could think to write was idiot. Is that a translation issue? I'm really curious what that was supposed to say in the original Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, unfortunately. But taking a step back, be judged, pay with your lives. That is a interesting one right there. I mean, is that basically saying that whoever wrote that murdered Toga's parents, killed them in this house, and that's why it's abandoned right now? I mean, obviously, most of Japan is abandoned right now because villains are roaming free, but I don't know. That's definitely a very, very strange thing to write on somebody's wall. I'm very curious about that. And then we get the big reveal that Toga still has a little bit of Twice's blood. And that is bad. That is so overwhelmingly bad. Maybe. Okay, basically I see two different ways this could play out. The first way is that she only has a little bit of Twice's blood, so she'll only be able to turn to Twice for a very short amount of time, like let's say 5-10 minutes, and all she'll really be able to do is basically tear down the walls at UA, and all the villains, roam in and start attacking civilians. Bad, but not terrible. The second scenario, though, is that once she turns into Twice, she'll be able to make a duplicate of Twice, and then steal his blood, drink his blood, and then stay as Twice for as long as she wants. That would be so overwhelmingly much worse. I mean, the question just really is, though, can Toga drink someone's blood and turn into them while she is transformed into somebody else? I mean, maybe. That's a very, very big maybe right there, and it'll have a huge impact over exactly how this big final fight is going to turn out. Anyway, though, then we get to see another shot of Shigaraki, and he is not handling the transformation all that well, as we see this monstrous growth of just random hands popping out of him. I'm guessing those are all the quirks inside of him, all the souls of those who've had their quirks stolen, fighting for freedom, trying to escape right now. And it is not going particularly well for anyone involved in this process. I mean, All For One says Tomura is recovering well. Apparently this is him being well, which, again, concerning. I mean, what is this man going to be once the evolution is finished? What is he going to transform into? What is the perfect 100% Shigaraki All For One Destruction for All actually going to look like? Unnerving, so very, very unnerving. And then Spinner is given a little black box, which, based on how he's holding it, I guess it's supposed to be a microphone, a way of him announcing to all the other villains that, okay, dudes, it's time to begin. It's time to start a grand rampage to take over Japan, to destroy UA. Huzzah! And we also get to see quite a lineup of villains who are probably going to make their way to UA to help with the attack. And the one in the back right is certainly interesting because I'm like 90% certain that is the sludge villain from Chapter 1. I'm fairly certain that is the guy that, basically trapped Bakugo, tried to take over his body and almost killed him, which, if so, oh, that's going to be fun. That is going to be so, so much fun. I mean, I've been saying for a very long time, I thought Bakugo's big final fight in the series would be with Deku against Shigaraki, and then when Deku goes in the quirk realm, Bakugo would stand guard, protecting Deku's body, making sure no one interferes. But if the sludge villain is here, that could end up being Bakugo's big final fight in the series, especially if the sludge villain manages to possess someone else, like, for instance, Best Jeanist, he's still recovering, or even All Might. Oh my god, All Might would not last long in his withered form with the sludge villain inside of him, and just a complete reversal of the start of the series where All Might had to save a possessed Bakugo would be so amazing. I would so love to see that. I mean, that kind of fight would require Bakugo to acquire a level of accuracy he has never shown before in this series and shoot the sludge without hitting All Might. Oh, that'd be a fun fight. That would be an absolutely freaking amazing fight. But please link all down below. Is Dobby Toga's hero? Is Twice Toga's hero? What does it actually mean to be a hero? And what is going to happen next? What's Spinner's move? What is Toga going to do with Twice's blood? Do you think she can just use it for a few minutes? Or can she use it almost indefinitely? Let me know what you think all down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. And until then, peace!